Hey, hey, everyone. Welcome back to Too Ambitious. I'm your host, Trish Lindo. Let me know in the comments where you all joining from. I'm super excited to be here on this beautiful Thursday. And once again, just in case you forgot, happy Black History Month. I am super excited for our latest guest that is here. If this is the first time that you're joining the show, this is Too Ambitious. It's a live series that celebrates Black women and women of color founders who are innovative, resilient, they're change agents, and of course, you might have guessed, very ambitious. So today, the CEO and co-founder of HerSuiteSpot, Marsha Guerrier, is on Too Ambitious. Now, her business provides training and business coaching to women of color founders, startups, and small business owners. Her company helps entrepreneurs to develop business plans and their brands to increase their revenue and also to gain access to funding, which we all know is super important. So I want you all to show her some love. I want to see some emojis. I want her to know that we have been waiting for her to come on this show. Welcome to Too Ambitious, the great Marsha Guerrier.
I feel like right now is when I'd walk out to my dance theme if we were on stage somewhere. I love it. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just happy that you're here. You and I have known each other for a couple of years now, and it's always love. It's always love. So thank you.
Always.
Thank you. So, let's get into it. Marsha, tell me a little bit about Her Sweet Spot and, why you decided to start this business that has become quite a powerhouse, especially with women of color founders. Why did you want to start this business?
I feel like I didn't want to, I had to. I felt it was necessary for me back in 2013, 2014. I was entering into a new phase of my life. My son was born in 2014, and I've had small businesses and side hustles, right? Working my
Yeah.
full-time job, doing something all the time. But during that time around 2013, 2014, I just felt weighed down by the never ending feeling of underappreciated, undervalued, and I just started talking to other women, my friends that were also side hustlers, filling
Mhm.
their wage gap through side hustles. And, they didn't have the resources. I worked in an ecosystem of startup and technology where I had access to information, to people that could help people that look like me develop their businesses, take their businesses from that side hustle mindset
Mhm.
a little further, right? Wherever that may be to you. Not everybody needs to go to that unicorn space, whatever it meant to whomever. I wanted to help people get access to resources that they needed to grow. And I felt like the business was really calling me,
Yeah.
and so I started with just like meetups and my conference, my annual women's conference, and I was just testing the waters. Like I said, Trish, I was a side hustler. I even
I love it.
didn't take right. I wasn't even working on becoming a seven-figure business or eight-figure business, looking
Right.
for the exit. I didn't really take entrepreneurship that to heart and
Right.
seriously, right? So it was a time in my life where now I'm becoming a mother, and
Mhm.
I've got to do something different because I have someone else now to teach, someone else to inspire, and that's why I started the business.
I love that. And I love that, you started something as a side hustler that's now become your main business, So congratulations to you because I know that road wasn't easy kind of navigating both, especially in the corporate space. So how did you do that at that time? You were working full time, you started the business, you became a mom. How did you do it?
It's so funny. You when you're forced and you're put in certain situations, you don't know how much you can do when it's kind of like your back is to the wall. I waited till I was 40 years old, becoming a mom for the first time. They called us geriatric moms, right? I was
Yeah.
becoming a mom for the first time, And I took that time to say, double down. And
Yeah.
I worked even harder managing, like you said, I don't know. I look back now, it's been 10 years. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how I managed it. It really is through organization, one through God. He gives you all that you can handle, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
then staying organized, being completely disciplined, and surrounding myself around the right people that were on the same track, that are on the same track, that have gone further than me to help me stay in line and stay focused.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, kudos to you for everything that you've built, and in addition to being a mom, because that means that you have, another full-time job, and someone that is counting on you for their well-being. So, kudos to you, and kudos to all the moms out there who are doing it all literally.
Thank
So,
you.
of
And
course.
add in Trish the pandemic, and then I became a school teacher, lunch lady, and all
Oh
that.
my God.
So
Yes.
you start off adding all this to your life, kind of knowing that, okay, at some point he'll be in school, and these hours he'll be managed by these folks there, and then
Right.
pandemic happens, and
And
everything
it's
you
all
thought
you.
was easy all of a sudden became crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can only imagine. And, I have so much respect for, women business owners who are also parents, who are managing the home, they're school teachers and everything like that. A lot of respect
Oh my
to
God.
everything that you all have doing. And I think also too, our society doesn't put respect on y'all name, as they say,
Yeah.
so thank you for all that you're doing, So let's talk about Her Sweet Spot. First of all, the name, love, right? How did you come up with the name? And tell me more about this amazing company.
So her sweet spot was not the original name of my business. The
Okay.
business was named Women on the Rise NY for New York, and that's what we incorporated as. And I knew then I just needed a business name, and
Yes.
so that resonated with me after I saw Oprah say that on TV interviewing Ava DuVernay, and I said, okay, that's the name.
Yeah.
Um, and Her Sweet Spot was a name. Remember, I'm a serial entrepreneur. Her Sweet Spot was a name that I had aside for a different business. And it
Ah,
was a brick and mortar business that was
okay.
to come.
Okay.
So if you look at the name Her Sweet and Spot, if you think about it, it was going to be a sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
Someplace
Yeah.
where women, female entrepreneurs can co-work and beyond co-work, but have a media space and all the things
Yes.
in a brick and mortar business. And when that didn't happen, and I needed to rebrand, because at one point I was thinking about the long term, see now getting really serious with this business and the brand and what it could become. Thinking about what would an investor say about the brand,
Yeah.
and thinking Women on the Rise was not unique.
Right.
When I looked into trademarking, because I didn't do it immediately, when I looked into trademarking, Trish, I found that another person who came behind me and created a Women on the Rise in another state, she trademarked it before me. And that's why
Mm.
I'm such a huge advocate for trademarking immediately.
Okay.
If you believe in your brand, I didn't believe in my brand,
Noted.
right? So I
Mhm.
think God knew that there was something else for me, because I didn't believe in that name, because
Yeah.
it was just term, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Widely used. And so when I realized that that term and that name wasn't unique enough, I had this other name. I said, you know what? It's going to be the brand that will take this business on to its next level.
Yes, absolutely. Well, you know what? You trust the process, and it's absolutely paid off. How would you describe Her Sweet Spot for someone who might be watching right now? They have no idea, what it's all about. How would you describe your business?
Yeah, so Her Sweet Spot is a digital platform for women of color advancing as entrepreneurs. We help women of color fill their wage and employment gap via entrepreneurship, providing them with what I call the 4 pillars of success framework that I've created in education, coaching, community, and capital, using mindset, money, marketing, and media as the pillars where we provide them with the resources they need.
Yeah. Amazing. What I love about Her Sweet Spot too is that it's very community based. Was that your intention the entire time to build this community of extraordinary women to help to obviously grow your business?
Yes, absolutely. It came from my experiences in corporate America as well. Working in a male dominated field, women, let alone women of color, are least likely to be promoted. And when they decide to fit women into leadership roles, it's one role left. And then it's the infighting. And, I saw that as a way. And for women and wanting to build community to kind of link up, provide bridges for each other to climb up, supporting one another, build community, help one woman advance, and then she comes
Mhm.
back and get the rest. And I knew that when I started this, it really did start with community meetups,
Okay.
and it just, I knew that had to be the basis. And oftentimes women, that's the last thing that women come to me for. They come to
Mm,
me for the training. They come to
okay.
me for access to resources.
Okay.
And then in my, Jedi mind way, I invited them into community, and I
Okay.
kind of forced them to join community. And then people started to recognize this is what I needed. I didn't know there was spaces with like-minded people that look like me, that
Yes.
are positive and are motivating and inspiring each other and sharing resources. I
Mhm.
think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And, some of those resources, include helping with grants and that sort of thing. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because as we know, Black women and women of color really don't get that funding, that venture capital funding or anything like that, as much as our white counterparts. So I obviously you saw that, no pun intended, white space, and you've provided this resource. Tell me a little bit about that and how you go about doing that.
So we are known primarily for our Her Rise micro grant fund that has been, since 2017, we've been giving funds or grants out to women of color small businesses. We started back then with giving out $100, and then we moved up the chain, and now we're providing $1,000 a month to women. And we saw very early that not only are we not getting venture capital, I don't think we all need to look for venture capital, but we don't even have access to a network of friends and family to help us raise the first 20K or 25K that
Right.
we may need as a seed money to start projects, right? And so I wanted to ensure that women of color felt validated in their business ideas. And
Absolutely.
with the micro grants we give, we know it's not a lot, but we know that the impact that it's making on women's mindset to keep pushing, because it is hard. You
Mhm.
don't know if people are listening. You don't know if people are finding value in your
Yeah.
business. And when you get accepted, or I don't want to say accepted, but when you get chosen for this opportunity, and trust me, we get hundreds of grant applications, and we read all of them. And
Amazing.
it is exciting to see the looks on people's face when they've found out they were awarded this grant,
Yep.
even though it's not one of the largest grant numbers out there. But it is, we call it the seed of hope. We're planting seeds of hope.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Sometimes that is all you need to keep going is just that hope, right? And knowing that someone believes in you and your vision for your business. What is the criteria for women? We may have some women founders out there who want to learn more about your grants and everything like that. What is the criteria? What do you look for to entrepreneurs who are looking to gain more funding?
We look for women that have started the digital footprint. In honesty, we believe that having a website is valuable and important, but not necessarily the end all. If you have a footprint on social media, that is great too. But you need to have a digital footprint. Companies with websites are probably more favored, right, in the process. But you
Mhm.
also need to be able to articulate what you do and who you do it for, right? What
Mm.
problem are you solving for what group of people? And it can be super succinct. It doesn't have to be a long pitch. We don't ask for much. It's not a large, long application, but we want to know that you are thinking long term and you have great vision. And then the other thing we look at, we have a question: how are you going to use the grant? And this is $1,000 grant. This is not a $10,000 grant. So we
Right.
really look to see if you are answering it honestly, authentically, and realistically for this grant. I
Mhm.
know that there are a lot of grant writers and a lot of grant folks out there telling you to copy paste,
Yes.
copy paste. Don't copy paste. Write and adjust, edit
Yeah.
down. Tell me that you'll use this to purchase your Zoom or to get your LinkedIn Pro account,
Amen.
right? Or to do some test marketing, because $1,000 could go a long way with some digital marketing ads,
Yeah.
right? And so tell me more realistic things. So I've seen a lot of people that wrote that they're going to buy vehicles instead of saying I'm going to add it to my fund to buy a vehicle. So we really want you to be thoughtful around how you communicate your business ideas.
Yeah, absolutely, and be intentional, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is absolutely the key. Marsha, when you started Her Sweet Spot, was that one of the barriers that you ran into was, looking for funding or finding resources that you needed to keep going?
It wasn't the biggest barrier because of I really had a great job, and as a woman of color, as a Black woman, we're starting off with our unfund. So my salary was really footing the bill for a lot of things that I did with the business. I invested a lot for
Mm,
myself
okay.
in building the
Bootstrap?
business. So I
Okay.
bootstrapped up
Yep.
until now. We're still
Mhm.
bootstrapping. We are not heavily sponsors. We are waiting. If you're a corporate sponsor and you'd like to reach over my 12,000 women of color community, please reach out.
Yes.
But
Yes.
right now, the biggest roadblock for me was my mindset. If I could tell you the truth, child, if I could
Yes.
tell you and break it down, it was at the time starting a business while working a job, working um, in a male field where they're trying to tell you that you don't do enough, and you giving them 120%, but
Right?
they're they're playing that game with you.
Mhm.
And so I didn't want them to know and use it against me that I had this business. And can I tell you, oftentimes I do feel like I'm running this like underground railroad, helping
Covert
women, like
operation.
covert operation, right?
Yeah.
Helping women navigate between employee and employer. And I
Mhm.
was afraid to be the face of my brand. 10 years later, I, am finally full on out as the face of Her Sweet Spot. But for a
Mhm.
long time, I wanted that logo to speak for me. I didn't want this whole idea of being a personal brand and being the face before the influencer world was the
Yeah.
thing. I was like, no, my logo's cute. I will use that. They don't need me. And
Yeah.
I was afraid. And you and I have talked about this and how women need to no longer, it's our time. We don't
Yeah.
have to be afraid. Entrepreneurship is more widely accepted, and it's important that and you never know now,
Yeah.
your companies and employers can help you with your business. Companies
Mhm.
are investing more in entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs, and I no longer have that mindset that we should live in fear
Yeah.
of living full on out. Because you want to know something, Bob is running his business,
Yes.
is telling everybody about it, is getting sponsorship and investment from his coworkers and colleagues, and he still gets his job done and he's still getting promoted at work. right?
Absolutely.
And so why can't we?
Absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Tiffany Maddox is joining us. She says, I'm afraid to be the face of my brand because of debt. Geesh,
Hey,
that's very,
Tiffany.
yeah,
Good to see you. I don't want that. This the other component, and why money is one of our pillars. Our relationship with money and our mindset with money. Debt is not evil.
hmm
Most of the most successful business people, Bobs out there, are in more debt than the valuation of their companies.
1000%. Yes.
Right. I want you to embrace it as a way for you and fuel it as a way for you to go even further with your business. Because if you're holding back and you're afraid because of that, then it will shine through in your brand. Because it, like I said, in the beginning, I wasn't coming out. I
Yeah.
wasn't full on out, right?
Right.
And it's gonna show, and people are gonna walk around and say, "Well, I don't know who's doing that." So they,
Exactly. And one of the things I've worked with entrepreneurs and women's founders like you, and I'm always surprised how many don't want to be out front, and they don't realize the power of people seeing them truly for who they are, but also for
yeah,
these extraordinary business leaders that they are. So, if you're out there and you're listening, like Marsha said, it's your time to shine, you
yeah.
know. So I love that. What I was curious about too, Marsha, is how did you change your mindset? What did you do? Is it affirmations with the stickies on the mirror? Like what did you do?
I
Do
didn't
tell.
do that. I didn't do that, but I went into my own personal faith. I relied more so. Sometimes you forget, right? Because you're chasing something that you don't think is connected to your faith. And
Right.
I really leaned into my faith and the belief system that I have in the impact that I'm making on the lives that I am touching.
Yeah.
Right? Once I put that on the forefront of what I'm doing and why I exist, my why, my
Mhm.
son is at the top of that. The people
Absolutely.
that I impact are at the top of that. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you, Trish and Tiffany and everyone, I often want to give up. I want to go back to a cushy job. I mean, it's only new that I'm full time in the business because,
Right.
you know, I don't share, I haven't shared this a lot, but I built the business as a side hustle so that I could prepare myself to one,
Yeah.
the day where I need to go full out, or when
Yeah.
they asked me to go full out. And I was given my
Mm.
walking papers in this whole transition of
Yeah.
layoffs that have been happening. I
Yeah.
was laid off and I cried tears of joy and not tears of heartache and sorrow because I had my
Mhm.
foundation. I had my
Yep.
next. So
Yep.
you know, I urge you all to, if you haven't started, get started so that if
Mhm.
the time comes when you have to be on your own, this year is going to be tough.
Yeah.
More layoffs are coming.
Right.
The world of small business is at risk because of so many shifts and changes that are happening
Yes.
in the economy, in politics, and all that. And so now's the time to double down on it all.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being so transparent, Marcia, and I'm sure you're not alone. There's so many people and especially Black women. We know that Black women have been, disproportionately affected by the mass layoffs that have been happening, especially in the US. So, thank you for that transparency. But at the same time, congratulations for having the foresight to see that and to have something built already for yourself so that when the time did come, you're like, okay, I'm good. Like,
Yeah.
we're just going to keep this going. Right.
Yes.
So thank you for that. I did have a comment from one of our viewers. She said, be mindful of your work environment. Not all managers and orgs are okay with employees, especially Black women, being the face of a brand that is not their corporate job. Speaking from experience, be smart. What do you say to that?
Um, Absolutely. 100%. That was the reason why I didn't show up at first, but
Mhm.
one, my company does not conflict with the job that I did.
Okay.
My job, I excelled beyond excelling at work. I gave them my y'all know how it is. Our 100% is their 40%, and so
Yes.
I gave 100% all the time, right?
Mhm.
And because of that, I knew that I could uh, start to open up about my brand. And then there
Yeah.
are ways to kind of block them from seeing your brand. But if your brand and your company is somewhat aligned with the work that you do at corporate inside corporate America,
Yeah.
okay, you should, tread safely out here in
Right.
these internet streets, as they call it.
Right. Yes.
But I would say that oftentimes we have bad managers.
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
is the manager who could be spiteful, who could be jealous, and that you have to manage separately.
Yes.
And what did I say the other day in one of our you were on a call with us, right? You did a workshop for us inside
Yeah.
her sweet spot. And I said, you could be skipping with ice cream cone down a block and they're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
So you got to block them on social media. I do not, and I did not befriend colleagues.
Yeah.
Never. If they
Never.
found me, they were stalking me, and then I'll have a situation with you for finding
Yeah.
for coming into my space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you have to protect yourself, and we know that, the playing field is never level for Black women,
right.
especially in these corporate spaces. So you have to do whatever it takes to protect yourself, not only your livelihood, but also your spirit as well,
That's
you know,
right.
because
That's right. That's right.
it's not easy in these streets. So thank you for that comment. Tiffany Maddox, once again, she wants to know, how did you decide to start giving funding? I have thought about adding a nonprofit to my business so that I can raise funding for other small business owners to be able to get the things that I didn't know that I needed when I started.
Yes, great question. I very early, so before this business, I have a nonprofit. And so I've been running my nonprofit 5 years or so before having this business. Remember,
Okay.
I'm a serial side hustler, but the
Yeah.
nonprofit was the very first legal entity. I did a lot of things, community based things, that we gave away a lot of things. And I knew right away that money was, and startup money was a barrier for women and women of color. So
Yeah.
I don't know, it just came so naturally. Because of the nonprofit work that I did, and I had people who donated graciously to my projects. One
Mhm.
day I was like, you know what? We need to give out money to people. Somebody
Yes.
needs $100. And it just started and it has grown from there.
I love that. Very selfless of you too. Just saying,
No,
So yes. We're almost at time, but I do want to know, Marsha, how would you describe ambition? And do you think there's the such thing as being too ambitious?
can I just be have another real moment with you about that word?
Please, please.
When I see too ambitious, I
Mhm.
kind of am like, what do they call it? PTSD. Because as a Black girl working in a male dominated field, white male dominated field, when
Mhm.
you are a Black woman with knowledge, adaptability, and a lot of skills, you're told you're too ambitious.
All the
You're
time.
not told that you are intelligent and smart and, oh my God, you're not getting these accolades and promotion. You're
Mhm.
often told you're too ambitious. You need a
Yeah.
Bob.
Tone it down.
Bob is intimidated by you. They don't feel that you're approachable. Why? Because I'm ambitious and I'm smart. And so
Yeah.
I have that one side of how I feel about it. But when I overcome that feeling,
Mhm.
the term too ambitious, and ambitious really means driven to me, really means
Yes.
being fully authentic about who you are, understanding who you are, and taking, you know, your life into your own hands, and just like moving forward at your own pace. I was going to say at speed, lightning speed, but don't do that. At your own pace.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for that, insight. And, one of the reasons why I call the show Too Ambitious is because I've been told I am too ambitious.
Yeah.
That was in my review. So,
But now we got to turn that around. We'll take it. Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, we will take it, all of that, and continue to live in our greatness as
That's
we
right.
do. Is there anything else you would love to share with us, Marsha, before we let you go to continue to build your empire?
I want people to know, if you haven't started your business, now is the time to get started. There are so many resources, HerSuiteSpot being one of them. We have an
Mhm.
academy that you could join to get access to coaching and community. And I want you to really think about your future when it comes
Mhm.
to holding your fate of where you're going and leaving the type of legacy that you've probably always thought about in your hands. Entrepreneurship is a great path to building that type of legacy. And it doesn't have to mean a 7-figure business or a huge exit. It could just mean your flexibility, freedom, and sanity.
Ooh, amen. You have said so many gems, Marsha, and I thank you for that. Snaps all around. I wish you continued success in everything that you're doing, Marsha, and I've loved talking with you on the show today. I'm sure we will talk even more because now we're friends. So,
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for dropping gems on inside HerSuiteSpot as well. I
absolutely.
appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you once again. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining the show today. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. And if you want to be on the show as well to share your journey, just message me on LinkedIn or IG or YouTube, all the things. Anyway, thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye.